Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sofia and I'm a Swedish model living and working in Seoul, South Korea, and this is my series called Modeling in Korea. If you're new here, welcome. I suggest you go check out the other videos because this is the last video of this series, which is going to be a Q&A where I answer all your questions about modeling in Korea. I'm not planning on making any other videos, but who knows, I might make some updated videos later on. But as of now, this is the last video of this series. So, shall we get started? This will sound a bit confusing if you haven't watched any of my previous videos, but basically to work as a model in Korea, you need to have either an entertainment visa, be married, or have any other type of F visa, a residential visa, where you can work with whatever you want. And the only way of getting one of these very specific work visas for entertainment is through having an agency or company who sponsors you the visa. That means that you cannot obtain this visa on your own. You can't just fill in paperwork and go to your closest embassy and apply. You need to have a company or an agency who sponsors this visa for you. So that means that even if I am a freelance model, I'm still signed to an agency who is the sponsor of my visa. So even though I am a freelance model under an agency, it's not an exclusive contract. The only exclusivity with it is that all my money has to go through that agency. That is my Korean agency. But other than that, I work as a freelance model and I am free to find my own jobs. I have no experience of being signed exclusively to an agency, so I have nothing to compare to. Therefore, I think it's a bit difficult for me to answer this question because the question is if I prefer to be under an agency or freelance, but I'm freelance under an agency, so it's a little bit tricky. But I do think it, in the end, just boils down to preference. If you prefer to be freelance and have more freedom, or if you want someone to just take charge of everything for you. I think in the end it depends on your preference, but I have no experience of being exclusive to an agency, so I have nothing really to comment on that. I'm really sorry. Yes, I have gotten a lot of jobs from Instagram. I've also gotten jobs from casting agents that I've met throughout my time working here, and from friends and contacts I've made while working in Korea as a model. So not all my jobs is from Instagram, but a huge portion of all my jobs I've done is from Instagram. As a model in Korea, I would definitely say Instagram is a great tool for you to find clients, or for clients to find you rather, and it's a great place to show off all your modeling work so they know who they are contacting, and it might make them inspired to contact you because they can see your photos that you've taken. So Instagram is a great tool as a freelance model in Korea. To be completely honest, I don't really know what agencies are out there or not. There's so many new ones. And when I was looking for an agency 4 years ago to sign with my first agency to get my E6 visa, the amount of agencies out there that was signing models were very limited, and some of them changed names, some of them I don't even think they're around. This is my 3rd year with my current agency that I have, so I haven't really had a reason to look for any agencies at all for the past 3 years because I'm very happy with them and I re-signed with them, and I hope to continue work together with them just because I think we work very well together. Therefore, I haven't really kept up with all the new agencies that popped up over the last 2-3 years. There's honestly so many agencies I've never heard of. A tip I would give you is to go on Instagram and search for a 외국인 model agency, and there will be a list of agencies pop up that has put that in their bio for Instagram, for their Instagram profile. That means they work with foreigners, so 외국인 means foreigner. So I would just go through that list and check them out, message them, and do some research, dig around. Maybe if you see other models who work here, maybe you can figure out which agency they are working for. Some models put their agency name in their bio, some does not. So I would definitely say don't sleep on Instagram. Go on Instagram and search, and I'm sure you will find a lot of agencies out there. Definitely check out Instagram and see what you can find. I wish I knew that too, honestly. I don't, but I wish I knew. However, I do not think that modeling agencies who works primarily with Korean models sponsors visas, meaning they probably only sign Korean models or half Korean models that have a Korean visa or citizenship, so they don't have to deal with the whole visa thing. But I don't know, I don't work for any of them, I never been signed with them, I never worked with them as a model, so I don't know, sorry. But with that said, just because I think they don't sponsor visas, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't contact them. Just contact them, send them an email, go to the website, slide into the DMs, do what you gotta do. That is a great question, and I do think there's quite a lot that has changed over the past year, but I do think there's multiple factors as to why that is. And I would say the first one is the economy. I would definitely say the economy has impacted the jobs of modeling and the entertainment industry. Prices of rent and food and traveling and just basic living costs have gone up quite a lot since of last year. So that means that we need more money to sustain ourselves, on top of there not being a lot of jobs these days. Since the economy has affected me and everyone around me, I'm pretty sure it also affects companies, and I'm sure they're trying to save money and don't want to hire models. Maybe they don't do as many shoots in a year, maybe they just do a few bigger ones instead of multiple small ones, meaning there will not be as many shooting opportunities. The second reason I would say it has changed is due to the amount of agencies these days. There's a lot of agencies who sponsor visas, which is not a bad thing, but it also means that there's more models in the market, which means that there's a higher competition to get jobs. That is just my observations of why I think the market has changed a bit since of last year when it comes to being a model or freelance model in Korea. Well, since I don't work as an agent here, it's hard for me to know about all the requirements, but what I could say is that every agency has different requirements. Some might have a height limit, some does not. It just depends on the agency. I personally am 170 centimeters tall, and I do a lot of lookbook / e-commerce jobs. I do think the most normal height for lookbooks is 165 centimeters to 173 centimeters maybe, but then again it depends on the client. Every client is different, every client have different requirements or wishes for the models for their campaign, so it really depends. But I've had a lot of jobs, because even though I would probably be considered quite short in Sweden, it's a pretty okay height in Korea to work as a model. Of course, if you want to do high fashion or runway, there's going to be other requirements. I don't work as a runway model, so I don't know. I mostly do e-commerce or lookbooks, as well as kwangos, which is commercials. So those requirements are a little bit different. And beauty, I would say, doesn't have any height requirements. I have a hard time seeing that, because usually beauty is just sitting down and it's like close to your face. So I don't think the height really matters when it comes to beauty shoots, but I might be wrong. I think, again, this depends on the agency you sign with, but just understand that even if you have an agency who agrees to provide for you and pay your living, your traveling costs, all that, you are expected to pay that back to them in the end. Nothing is for free. No one's just gonna provide for you to just live somewhere. So just know that you are expected to pay that back by work. That means that whenever you get a job through that agency or a job on your own, they're gonna take as much of that money as possible to pay off the debt that you've started to accumulate with them. So in the end, you might not have as much money left because you have to pay off a debt. So in the end, you have to still make sure that you can work enough to pay that off to your agency. Otherwise, you're gonna have to figure out a way to pay it off either way. For example, I don't have anyone who provides for me. I do it for myself. I'm lucky enough to live with my boyfriend, which means that it's a bit cheaper to live because we split everything. But if you're gonna live on your own, just know that you need to have savings so that if you don't get any jobs, you can still pay your rent. In the end, it's gonna be your responsibility. No one is gonna take care of you as a parent. In the end, it's just your responsibility. And it's really difficult for me to say if models in general sustain themselves here. I've sustained myself this long. I don't know about the future. You never know what's gonna happen. That's the thing with this industry. It's very uncertain, so you don't know, and it's very individual. I don't know how you're gonna work here. I don't know how my friends are gonna work here. It's very different. I don't even know which jobs I'm gonna get and when I'm gonna get the jobs and how many jobs I'm gonna get or when I'm gonna get paid or how much I'm gonna get paid. So it is a very uncertain industry. I can't just say that every model who moves here is gonna be able to sustain themselves, because it's just gonna be super individual to you. I'm sorry that I don't have a better answer to that, and I understand it probably was not the answer you wanted, but just know it's gonna be tough at times. It's definitely gonna be tough, and I would definitely suggest to have a budget before you come. I don't think I'm the right person to answer that question, because I've been in a committed relationship with my boyfriend my entire career as a model here, and I'm assuming we're talking in a flirtatious way here, not just as friends. But I can say that I met a lot of amazing people, so many good friends. I met some of my closest friends, people that I consider my family. I met them through shootings when I've been on set. So you can definitely meet boys and girls, very good friends, but I don't know about dating because it's not something I ever tried to do. So I don't know. Again, I'm not an agent. I don't know about that. I don't know which agencies are looking for what, because it's not my job to look for models. I would say that maybe I am more on the unique side. I definitely was more on the unique category when I had shorter hair, but I do still think with my longer hair and my new image that I'm still on the unique side, and I'm signed, I've been signed, and I've gotten a lot of jobs. For tattooed models, I have also worked with a lot of models with tattoos, and there is a lot of models with tattoos, and I mean, even my agency has models with tattoos. I think a lot of agencies doesn't really care about tattoos these days, as long as you can cover them up for shootings, or as long as you know that if you have tattoos it might limit the amount of jobs you can do or the clients you can have. So if you have a lot of models or very unique look and it's something you worry about, I would go on Instagram again and look for foreigner models in Korea. I would search for Wegwing model on Instagram. I would just look up models that have a lot of tattoos or are very unique. Then I would go up to their profile and look up their agency and contact the agency. That's a great way of finding agencies that you already know have signed models with a lot of tattoos or that has a very unique look. But yeah, that's what I would do. And I would still just contact any agency. Don't limit yourself, just contact anyone and see. In the end, you don't know who is interested in signing with you or not, so just contact an agency. Don't limit yourself. But if you definitely want to be sure it's an agency that has models with tattoos, then I would look up agencies through other models. I have personally worked with models from the age of like 4 years old to 50 plus years old. Let's say you're over 40, maybe then it would be more limited with work for you. But I don't know, because I am also in my mid to late 20s, so all my experience I have is from being in my 20s. I don't really know about anything else. I've only worked in Korea from the age of 23 or 24, and now I'm 27, so that's all the experience I have personally. But I do think in the end it all just boils down to your overall image. Like, what's your image? Is it something that the agents or clients would be interested in? Are you good at being photographed? Are you good at being in front of the camera? Just get a lot of practice, make a good portfolio that is big and diverse and show that this is what I can do. Then I don't think they're gonna care about your age. Simple as that. There is gonna be clients for everyone. So I would just say, don't worry too much about your age, just apply. In the end, that's all that matters, just try it out. So don't let something like that get into your head and get in your way. Just apply and see what happens. Yes, I did a lot of collaborations before I signed with an agency. I worked with a lot of photographers on personal work or collaborations to build a portfolio, but I would also rent studios with friends together, and then I and my friends would sit down, make up mood boards and concept for what we want to take photos of, what do we need for our portfolio, and then we would go together to the studio with the camera take photos of each other. That's also a great way of building experience and being more comfortable in front of the camera and practicing your angles and what works for you when it comes to posing. So yeah, that's what I did, and I still to this day, when I want to build a portfolio, I work with photographers on personal jobs. I go together and rent studios with friends, and I present concepts to them and prepare everything so that I get what I need for my portfolio. Yes and no. Again, when I was looking for agencies 4 years ago, there was not as many agencies who signed models and provided visas. It was more limited at that time. However, I still took a lot of time to make a decision. I'm a bit of an anxious person, so for me to make a huge decision, it still takes some time, and I want to make sure that I made the right decision for me. I just didn't sign with whoever just offered me a visa first, which probably would have worked too, but that's just not who I am. So I would just email every agency I could find in Korea that works with foreigners, and even those who doesn't work with foreigners. I would look up their offices. I would go by, drop off my com card. I would have my photo book, my modeling book with me all the time. So whenever I'm going to their offices, I have the book with me in case. And then I would set up meetings with whoever applied, and I would go to the office or meet them in a coffee shop, and I would come prepared with a lot of questions that I had. And with many agencies, I did multiple meetings with them but didn't end up signing with them. I just took my sweet time to make sure that I made a decision that was right for me, which in the end worked out really well, even though I missed some of the opportunities along the way. So for me personally, it took about 6 months until I got signed with an agency. But that is just my personal experience. I don't think it takes that long for everyone, especially not these days because there's so many agencies out there. But know that I was consistently every day looking and working and doing all these things, and I live in Korea, so if you live abroad it might be more difficult and take a bit longer, but I don't know because I've never done it that way, and today is different from when I started looking for agencies 4 years ago, so our experiences are gonna be very different. Also, I have such a bitch face when I'm like thinking or talking or being serious. I'm really sorry, I'm not trying to look like a bitch, it's just my face. I've had this problem since I was a kid. Everyone was like, I thought you were a bitch first time I met you. I'm like, I'm not, I promise. Or maybe I am. No, just kidding. No, I did not have a model agency back in Sweden. I still don't have any agency or agent in Sweden who represents me. But I'm always looking for someone who can represent me abroad or outside of Korea. So if you're an agency or an agent who wants to represent me abroad, send me a DM and let's chat. Okay, now I shot my shot. So in other words, yes, I did find my Korean agency on my own. No, you're not automatically a freelance model when you sign with a Korean agency. It all depends on the agency and how they are deciding to do it. All depends on the agency and what you're willing to sign. Just be careful, don't sign something you don't know what it is. Just make sure you know if you're gonna be a freelance model or an exclusive model. Again, it depends on the agency. Have I been to meetings with agencies that I've looked to sign with that told me I need to lose weight, that I need to lose measurements, that I'm fat, that I'm ugly? Yeah, I have. I've been told I need to lose inches, and was I at my skinniest at that time? Yeah, I was also at my skinniest at that time, and I knew that it's not possible for me to lose anything else without being very unhealthy, and I was having a very healthy lifestyle and I did not want to change that just to get signed with an agency. But also, you can't ask me to lose inches on places like my hips. It's the bones. I don't know what you want me to say. It's just how I'm built. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm really sorry. What I want to say is that it's gonna depend on who you're working with and who you're meeting. Some people are gonna say that, oh, maybe you need to watch your measurements. Some is not gonna care at all. I mean, none of my agencies, not this one or my previous, have ever cared about my weight or my measurements as long as I'm honest, so that whenever they're sending me to clients, they are not gonna get backlash because I do not have the measurements I told them, or that I lied about my looks or something. And yeah, was I told that my image is ugly and that I'm never gonna find jobs? Yeah, I've been told that, but I knew that was not true and I believed in myself, so I found an agency who didn't say that, and then I signed with them and went on and booked huge gigs and a lot of big jobs, so worked out. So I think in the end it all again depends on your agency or what kind of job you're doing. If you're gonna do runway or high fashion, yeah, they might be very strict on your measurements, but I don't work in that market, so I don't know firsthand, but I've heard that they can be very harsh on the measurements. I've had meetings with agencies who thinks I should watch my measurements more. I've had meetings with agencies who doesn't care. I never had a client complain about my measurements. However, I've been to castings or fittings for certain clothing brands, and they might have just said it. Some of your measurements are a bit too curvy, which doesn't really work for our brand, or like you have a little bit too much boob going on, which is fine. That's just the client's wish and the image for their brand, so there's nothing I can do about that. But then I was just like, hey, there's nothing I can do, so you know, good luck, and you will find a model that works for you and I will find another job. I think I've been very lucky that I've had a very good support system and that I've had agencies that doesn't care about my body weight or my measurements as long as I'm happy and healthy. So that have helped me a lot too whenever I'm looking for jobs, because I know I have someone to back me up. So yes and no, I would say to this question. I know there are gonna be jobs that have requirements for your measurements, but there are also gonna be jobs and agents and people that don't have those requirements. But I hope that doesn't hinder you or stop you from applying to any agencies in Korea. Just do it and let's see what happens after that. Don't put any obstacles in front of you before you even try it. I hope whoever you are out there that are worried about measurements in Korea, that you just take care of yourself in first hand. Nothing is more important than you and your own health, so don't let anyone else take that away from you, and don't let someone else make you unhealthy because you're trying to achieve something someone else told you about. As I've said, I've been told I need to lose weight to get jobs. I didn't, and I still got jobs. It is possible, and just prioritize yourself first, your happiness, your health first. That's the most important. Take care of yourself. Don't listen to someone's opinion that you don't care about. Don't listen to them. Do your own thing and be happy and healthy. So I know this answer is very vague, but it is not as black and white to just answer with a yes or no, sadly. The industry is huge. It's very broad. There's so many different type of jobs in this industry. There's so many different types of clients and models and requirements, so it's really hard for me to just give a clear answer. All I can do is speak from my own experience, but I hope these questions and answers gave you some clarity if you want to work as a model in Korea. And that is the last video of this series. It is a little bit sentimental. I've been working on this since beginning of January 1st of this year. It's been almost 6 months in the making. I hope you enjoy this series. I'm so grateful that you watched all of it, and thank you so much for sticking around. If you're still interested in knowing more about my life as a model in Korea and see more of me modeling in Korea, I would suggest that you should subscribe to my channel, because I'm still gonna post videos and vlogs about being a model here, living and working in Seoul. I would also suggest maybe you should check out my Instagram. I have both my personal Instagram and I have my modeling Instagram account where I post my portfolio, so you can see what I'm doing and what kind of jobs I'm doing. I know this video is really long, so if you made it this far, thank you so much. Please leave a comment down below and subscribe, and I hope I will see you around. I hope this helped you a lot, so thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. I love you guys.